This is the best long-term care strategy that you can buy, and it's well within reason, and most of us would probably be able to afford it as well. These are called Continuing Care Retirement Communities, CCRCs. Now, my mom is in one right now, and trust me, my mom ain't rich. I'm just telling you right now. But how a CCR, and we're going to show you an article here in just a second about this, but how a CCR community works is it's actually fantastic. As you pay a significant upfront fee, we'll say $400,000, maybe $500,000, maybe $300,000, depending on where you live. And what that does, it allows you to go from independent living, like you are in a cottage essentially, to assisted living, where you can't do 2 of the 6 ADLs, activities of daily living, and you need someone there to help you, like transition, to move you around, change your bed and all that, into skilled care, where you may got dementia or something like that. All in the same community, all right? These are all in the same community. So you don't have to go across town over here all the way up there. It's all in the same community. And you're guaranteed to be able to transition if that happens. And by the way, the majority of people don't even transition from point A to point B to point C. They just don't. And the reason I like these things is because you have that covered now. All right, you said, I'm going to pay that $500,000, $400,000 upfront fee, whatever it is. And I know for a fact I got coverage. Now, with the fee, you're still probably going to pay $5,000 a month. You're essentially you're renting. All right, so what that $5,000 a month covers is it covers your rent, plus your utilities, a property tax. The one I investigated for some clients is up here in Lanier, which we'll look at here in just a second as well. I think they had a chef-provided guy who would provide you food and all this stuff, 2 meals a day, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of activities, your gym membership, everything. It's fantastic. I mean, again, it's not cheap, but it's not nearly as expensive as other people think. They're like, oh, I got to pay $5,000. Like, well, what are you paying right now to live? Your property tax goes away, your home ownership insurance goes away, your HOA goes away, your cable bill goes away. All that's going to be transitioned over here to your CCRC. Now, again, it's not for everybody because it's expensive to get in there, 100%. And the reason they do that is because they don't want everybody going in. They don't. The reason they don't want that, the reason they don't want to do that is because they don't want to be stuck with a bunch of Medicaid bills. So a lot of these things happen, and again, everyone is different, every community is different, but generally speaking, once they accept you, they can't put you out. So once you run out of money, then you're going to go on Medicaid. And basically it's probably some kind of agreement between the Medicaid, CMS, Center for Medicaid and Medicaid Services, and Medicare Services, and the facility says, look, man, we'll get these guys covered for 5 years, but in year 6, if they run out of money, can Medicaid pick it up? And I'm sure there's some kind of agreement that Medicaid says, sure. You see what I'm saying? So you go in there, you sell your house to fund your entrance fee, essentially. And again, it depends on where you live. Western Virginia is less expensive than northern New Jersey. I guarantee you that. All right. So the cost of West Virginia is probably on the higher end in terms of cost of northern New Jersey is going to be on the higher end. The cost of Western Virginia is probably going to be probably on the lower end. But how is the entrance fee decided? Well, simple. They say, I'm sure they have actuaries that say, what's the higher end of the median house value in Shenandoah Valley, in Harrisonburg, Virginia community, for instance. They say, the higher end is $350,000. All right, so we'll make our interest free $350,000. In northern New Jersey, the higher end of the median home value is $700,000. We'll make our interest fee $700,000. Again, I'm not saying exactly that's how it works, but you kind of get the gist. So they're basically saying the upper affluent, upper middle class can afford to be in here because those are probably people we're not going to have to put on to Medicare. All right, so let me show you the one that I looked at for my clients. If I can, there we go. Actually, before we do that, let's just read a little bit of this article from the U.S. News from April 17th. Continuing care retirement communities' costs can vary significantly, typically including an upfront entrance fee and ongoing monthly services fees. Entrance fees can range from $300 to $350. That's even more than that. With monthly service fees averaging around $5,000 to $10,000. That's what gets people gets their undies all tight. They're like, oh my goodness, $5,000 to $6,000 a month. I'm like, yeah, but you get food, you get all utilities, generally speaking. You get everything included in that. I mean, you have no property tax, no homeowners insurance, the whole thing. It's not cheap, but it's not as expensive as people mean. Let's see here. So as more people, I want to go down here right here. We're going to show you how it works. They got monthly rental. See, I don't even like this. I like the interest fee model right here. Requires an upfront payment that can range from $100,000 to more than $1 million, depending on where you are, with the average interest fee around $400,000. The interest fee is often paired with a monthly service fee. In many cases, part of the interest fee may be refundable if the resident moves out or upon the death without having exhausted all their money. 100%. Type A is my favorite, actually. Includes higher upfront fees but covers a wider range of services, such as you go into future care facilities, assisted living, or skilled nursing. This is the most expensive option, but it provides guaranteed care down the road, 100%. Factors, location's a factor that determines the cost of CCRC. Size of living space. So if you go to an independent cottage that's a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot home, it's probably going to be more expensive than just going into an apartment. Level of care, independent living is the least expensive because you're on your own. Well, assisted living is pricier, and skilled care is even more expensive. And that's one thing I like about this Type A model right here. Where was it? Because it includes higher upfront fees, but covers a wide range of services to include advancing into the skilled care facilities as well. Amenities, facilities with more extensive amenities such as fitness centers, swimming pools, dining options, and on-site medical care can add to overall costs. Yep, 100%. And by the way, I literally just talked to my mom the other day, and she's doing her taxes because my mom's a tax legend. And I said, "How much you getting back? Or how much can you deduct off all this?" She goes, "Man, I could deduct everything." I won't say everything, but she says I deduct a lot for her CCRC. Long-term care is a deductible expense, 100%. Now, my mom doesn't make very much income, but she still has enough, which she has some taxes due, and the long-term care stuff is able to deduct a lot, so she doesn't really owe much in taxes. Interesting, when we're running stuff on the right capital, it's very interesting when people do show healthcare, long-term care costs, you'll see a very limited tax amount because they're basically deducting everything to cover all their taxes. It's very interesting, so their taxes go down in that regard. Yeah, it's a pretty good article. Let's go to the one that I know. Actually, not yet. You see, housing is included in the cost, assisted living services, routine medical services, housekeeping, maintenance, meals. CCRs provide either full dining options or limited meal plans, parking, facilities, fitness facilities, security, social events, transportation, utilities. Yep, 100%, man. So let's go into it. Now, here's the one I looked up for one of my clients, the Lanier Village in what the hell was that? It was in Gainesville, Georgia. That's where it was. And you can see right here, it's a big facility, big campus. Here's their, let's see, yeah, this is their independent cottages, and it's freaking fantastic, dude. Here's their dining hall. I'm just, dude, crazy, man. Here's the entrance right there. Here's the swimming pool. Here's the church. Here's the freaking grass, the pond, I suppose. Here's that guy. I mean, look, man. 58,000 square foot clubhouse and wellness center can provide ample space for residential socialization. But the carefully designed outdoor spaces are really what makes this project special. That just is fantastic. Now, again, it's not cheap. Let's talk about the amenities here. Services, let's see if they talk about that. Because I remember when I interviewed the lady, let's see, landscaping, maybe they don't show it in here. Anyway, but they provided, let me see if I can't go back. You can see right here, senior living, assisted living, memory care. Oops, what happened? Here's one they got in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Here's one they got in Atlanta. I mean, these are high-end stuff, but I don't know what that one is. That's in Raleigh, North Carolina. That looks like hell on earth to me, but some people like that stuff. Not your old buddy Josh. That's the one in Atlanta right there. That's the one in Mechanicsburg. I haven't. So this is all right. So let me show you what else. No. Yeah, and here's Atlanta, and here's where it is right here. I live up in here. Where the hell do I live? Well, right in here. So that's where I go get my fresh meat, Ball Ground, Georgia, and I live right up in here, where all the cool kids live. So that's where I get my meat, my raw milk. I just died from raw milk. Anyway, they don't really give too much. They don't say about the home cooked meals, but I just talk to the chef, and I talk to the nurses, I talk to the residents, I talk to obviously salespeople. I loved it. The only drawback is I think it does age you. Like my clients who I talked to, the guy's, he's like 71. I think she was 68. Just great people. They live in Tennessee. He's like 6'2". She's like 5'5", like a cheerleader. And he was like a football star. They're just wonderful people. And I said, I think you're too young. Because once you go in these places, you're going to get age out pretty quickly. The only drawback I found was that just people are old. They're wonderful people. No one spoke negatively on it. But at the end of the day, I think it does make you get old for sure, because you're no longer really as independent as what you are living in your home. That's the only drawback. But if I'm you and I got I got a little bit of financial acumen or a financial wealth, and I'm like, I don't want to deal with all this crap. I just want to make it as easy as possible for my kids, easy as possible for my surviving spouse, easy as possible for me. I don't want to have to do all this crap and relocate from point A to point B. I'm absolutely looking at CCRC, Continuing Care Retirement Committee, and you should too, 100%. But it's so expensive. Yeah, well, a lot of times you do get what you pay for, and this is one of the things I think you do. All right, God bless. Smash that like button. If you have your own experience with CCRCs, put in the notes, man. I guarantee people would like to hear you.